Can a total noob survive Terraria Calamity? I'm playing on Infernum mode. My brother will be joining me on this game since he is the one who begged me to play Terraria Calamity at one of its hardest difficulties. So let's begin with character selection. This will be his look. We will name him Filthy Greg, just because I suck at the game, and Greg will get absolutely trashed by the many dangers this world holds. Starting us off, Greg cuts a few trees in a standard Minecraft fashion, and we immediately bolt to explore the right side of the map. Don't ask me why Greg does what he does, but in Minecraft standard procedure, you must find something to progress. And that didn't take too long. We find the Crimson Biome and one of its daggers, the Blood Crawler, and yes, it absolutely wrecked Greg. But is that gonna stop us from exploring the right side of the map? Heck yeah, it is. Now my brother and I proceed to build houses for NPCs because, well, we need houses for new NPCs to spawn. Well, Greg finds himself wanting to explore more at night, so he explores to the left and died immediately. Should have been prepared more for that, huh? After respawning. Greg, for God knows what reason. Greg still leaves the starter house. Surprise, surprise, he died again. After a long reflection on life choices, Greg finds and crafts a weapon, a boomerang, and he still bolts out to explore more. I'm not surprised at this point by the level of my stupidity. Luckily, this is enough to keep him alive. A full 2 minutes, that is. I think Greg needs to start using his brains. Moving on, Greg starts to explore the caves on the right side and farms resources. I don't know what for, but good for him.
Huh?
Greg follows Navi from Zelda, which leads him to a life crystal. Good for Greg, because he's gonna need a lot of health, and that got put to the test immediately by a snail. You're probably wondering where my brother is. He is on the left side of the map speedrunning progress while I do absolutely nothing. Sad. For that reason, Greg joins Yellowthing on exploring the map. We can already see the difference in skill Yellowthing is showing us. I mean, what the heck is that? And for that reason alone, Greg steals Yellowthing's life crystal for himself. Talk about already being dead weight and still being toxic. Don't you just love karma? Greg didn't get the memo and still follows Yellowthing around like the absolute noob he is. He gets trapped by 2 big black slimes and gets his cheeks clapped. Greg decided to explore back to his first cave, buying a single bomb to take out the Crimson Heart he saw earlier, only to realize he can't break the Crimson walls and wastes his only bomb. Greg continues his exploration and finds his first chest. It might not be great, but he got a ring from it. Like in Lord of the Rings, greed takes over Greg. Overcome with greed after the first chest, he wanted to find more, decided to kill himself. Don't ask me why I'm so bad at the game. I'm not usually like this. After respawning, Greg checks the loot he has gathered and crafts what he considers a god tier weapon. It throws infinite daggers that absolutely crush his enemies. Greg wasted no time and crafted a full set of gear, running to the right side throwing his newly crafted weapon. But his ego is quickly shattered after he messed with the wrong enemy. Oh shit! That was the Perforator Hive. It spawns only when the Perforator Cyst is destroyed. Greg learned his lesson by running straight to the left side of the map, non-stop killing any mobs on his way. Slimes now started to fall. It's one of many world events designed to kill Greg. And Greg? He ignores it, looting a chest, going to the beach, and finding the Angler Billy. After angering King Slime, Greg decided to use his brain and run away like a coward. Good job, Greg. Greg decided to fight back along with Yellowthing. They got King Slime down to half health, so close, but they died. After the loss, Greg retaliates by killing all the slimes until the slime finally stopped raining from the sky. Greg continues his exploration in the caves, finding a mushroom biome, which he immediately throws a dynamite at. The mushroom biome isn't going down without a fight though, and prevents Greg from escaping the explosion zone. Greg proceeds with his cave exploration, not letting death stop him. He finds a railway and now actually figures out how to use it. After the end of the ride, Greg bombs his way to many ores, doing it safely this time. But he got a little bit too curious about 2 not so suspicious boulders and mined directly on the side, killing him. But Greg actually finds a Fishron summon and gets the bright idea to attempt to fight it in the ocean, even inviting Yellowthing to participate in the battle. Not knowing that Fishron doesn't get summoned pre-hard mode, I think Yellowthing just showed up to watch and laugh at stupid Greg. Will Greg actually make progress in this game? How will he do that? By building his own house in the desert. Yeah, not the best choice of terrain, but we cheer for Greg, right? Not the best house, but it's the thought that counts. After making his own house, Greg accidentally blows the main base and himself up. After Greg and Yellowthing repaired the base, Greg proceeds down to the mines again. You think Yellowthing forgets? Nah. He proceeds to start a boss fight right next to Greg's built base. The Desert Scourge arguably has one of the best songs I've heard in the game. Yellowthing didn't come unprepared though, and steamrolls the boss. And Greg? Greg still died at the end. It's too early to judge gameplay as a noob. Greg and Yellowthing refight the Desert Scourge. This time, it didn't go well. But Greg got a new weapon out of it and freely spams it every time again. Then he decides it's a good idea to have a rematch against King Slime. Will they defeat it? Of course they don't, twice. But on the third try, Greg had a gamer moment so close to defeating King Slime. Will Greg make it before Yellowthing dies? Greg actually respawns in time, seconds before Yellowthing dies. But will he clutch up? Greg did it. He beat King Slime, even though Yellowthing did most of the work carrying Greg, and he got his rewards. Unfortunately, Filthy Grig's world got corrupted. For some reason, after downloading some quality of life mods, we can't seem to rejoin the world. But Greg isn't going to give up on the challenge. No sir, after gaining all of the early game knowledge, Greg will become awesome. And that will be his name, along with a new haircut. This will be the new world. Let's skip all the boring parts. Greg actually finds a hole. This type of hole means two things, shrine or sword, and after getting distracted and dying, Greg finds out it's a shrine with this thing. After that, we spend 3 hours finding the extractinator. It's an item that converts fossils into rare materials used for many of the things needed in early game. After finding out how to vein mine, we explored almost half of the ant's nest, finding many cool loots like this blessing thing. After finding nothing, we fought the Desert Scourge again, this time winning with only my death. Finally finding the extractinator after 2 more hours in the mines, I explore quite a bit more in Underground and the Sunken City, and Blood Moon started. We farmed the whole night on Blood Moon, testing out my new gear before fighting King Slime again. It wouldn't be a Greg video without Greg dying. Much better. And even at 1% HP, oh yeah, Yellowthing also changed his name to Yellow King, because he will be carrying us on the whole game. After getting to the same progress as the last world, I think the difference is clear on this one. Greg now explores the Sunken City, possibly the most beautiful biomes I've ever seen. After admiring the scenery, Greg proceeds to destroy the place by taking all of the crystal geode prism. After getting what he needs, someone didn't take trespassers too lightly. Greg isn't going down without a fight though. Greg starts a fight with the giant clam boss, Yellow King. Also joins the fight. Starting the fight and stealing his treasures isn't going to end well. The clam actually followed Greg on his base and proceeds to spawn camp him. But they manage to lure the giant clam to arena and defeats it. After those shenanigans, Greg goes down into the corruption biome, seemingly just trying to find something to do, because you have those times where you don't know what you're doing, and Greg actually summons the hive mind by pure coincidence. You get what you ask for, right? I feel like Greg is actually breezing through the game, so I'll make the Eye of Cthulhu fight a bit longer just to see how Greg actually fights bosses. Here, Greg is still using the Desert Scourge Spear. I feel like this is right time to explain what classes are too. In Calamity, classes are divided throughout the game. There are 7 classes in total: Melee, True Melee, Ranged, Magic Summoning, and the new Calamity added class Rogue. And that is Greg's main class as shown on the video, and his subclass is Ranged. Many classes have unique things going for them, but Rogue's stealth mechanic piqued my interest, so Greg will be using that. Back to the game. The Eye of Cthulhu is so close to dying, Greg is really going to defeat the Eye of Cthulhu with just 1 death. I already know what you're thinking, and yes, he's going to use his special technique, dying at the last second after the boss dies. Classic Greg, you never disappoint. disappointing us. Moving on, after collecting the loot and reorganizing my gear. Another event has just taken place, acid rain on the ocean. Greg began to collect his conch and teleported to the wrong ocean. Greg quickly fixed that. Nothing much happened in this event. Yellow King and I just cleared the enemies that spawned and returned back to base. Greg quickly realized this base isn't built by him, and not wanting to get one up on, decides to build a new base besides the starter base. Here is super fast build mode. And done. I told you it's fast. But Greg isn't done yet and decides to build a second house. Redeeming the old world's house on the desert, Greg is now building a pyramid. Eye of Cthulhu also spawned. I also realized you can store banners on a banner box. Should have known that earlier, huh? After building the pyramid. We started the fight with the Eater of Worlds. Greg thought he could just tank the entire fight with the Eater of Worlds. It didn't end well. So we decide to go another round and another and another. Yeah, didn't know this boss is that tough, but we eventually defeated it. And Greg got a new armor set. After all those farmings, this will be the most epic and my most favorite boss fights in the game, Crabulon. And spoiler, Greg actually didn't die here. I won't be skipping anything here and show you the full fight. But my survival is what brings Crabulon down. After that, we actually fought the Old One's army. So we're just gonna skip it and head to the boss, the Dark Mage. Greg just spammed guns and defeated the Old One's army. After that, we are ready to fight Skeletron. We talk to the old man and summon him. I'm now really sure if we can beat Skeletron, but we are on a roll with these bosses. Skeletron isn't hard at first, but when shooting those lasers, he becomes deadly. Because of that, we died. It's time for round 2. Now, I'm the main focus of Skeletron, so my wave gun can directly hit Skeletron for massive damage. I actually was focused into this fight, but still got killed. So close to beating Skeletron by this point, will Greg actually defeat it? They actually did it. That has got to be the most outrageous timing that has ever happened to Greg. Honestly, should just quit the game by this point. We haven't even started hard mode, and I'm already tilted by that action alone. Anyways, back to it after cooling off fighting harpies till nighttime. We head back to Skeletron. This time will be different, and we did manage to defeat Skeletron just by Greg standing still, while Yellow King does the real part of battling Skeletron. Greg is scared by this point. Greg didn't even know if that is a desperation phase or just timing on morning, and still keeps his distance to see if it truly is over. Look at him going off the screen, all scared, and finally it's done. And now is the time to explore the dungeon. Here is a montage of Greg exploring the dungeon. Greg had to go back to deposit his stuff back at base, and exploration continues. Finally, Yellowking also joins the adventure on the dungeon and tells me there is a secret boss on this dungeon. Greg got excited hearing that and starts finding the boss, ignoring enemies and loots. But Yellowking gets distracted by a crimson chest. Greg had to help by standing there while he gets the key for it. After that, they continue forward, until finally, the boss bar quickly disappeared. Looks like Greg is close to finding it. Greg descends to a long drop finding the Ceaseless Void. Greg explores Ceaseless Void's chamber, or should I say prison. Ceaseless Void is invincible at this time, and Greg expects to fight him on hard mode or post Moonlord. Greg doesn't really know. Moving on. Greg decided to collect Hellstone ore with Yellowking. Greg just needs something to do by this point. Yellowking actually tells Greg a broken mechanic that absolutely blows Greg's mind. You see, if you purchase 30 of a potion and keep it on your piggy bank, you actually get its effects permanently. Yeah, kind of broken, right? And that's what Greg actually does him. Purchasing obsidian skin first, because that's his first thing to get from mining Hellstone ores. Greg and Yellowthing actually explores the left side of the underworld, and finding this biome, they encountered some new opponents and got hit by an explosion. A mysterious NPC. Yellowking talks to the NPC and she says she failed over and over until we ask her if she is doing all right. After confirming she's fine, she introduces herself as Solon and she says she needs time to think about things, so we leave her alone. What a mysterious character. Greg and Yellowking continues to explore on the left side and reaching the edge of the world. Greg has a gut feeling to talk to Solon one more time, so he heads back to where Solon is. And she gave us a flagpole saying she doesn't really have a home, and if we place this flag on a flat surface, she will set camp there. Neat. But Greg eventually forgets about her. Yeah, Greg is not good with the ladies. Greg just got a great idea of taking a conch, going to the beach, and try to summon the perforator. Greg is actually putting on quite a fight. Yellowking doesn't want to be left out too. Both of them obliterates Perforator, and as always, Greg is actually scared of the desperation phase. Greg and Yellowthing are on the Crimson biome, so might as well challenge Brain of Cthulhu too. Greg clears out the arena first with his Scarab bombs. That's the only bombs he has. After that, they summon the Brain of Cthulhu. This weapon is kind of goated. Ultra-fast ninja knife phase. It's a really perfect weapon for Greg, because all he does on this fight is spam on the boss's direction, even if the boss is out of the screen. This is actually one of the fights where Greg didn't die. I think Greg is growing as a player. Bad news, guys. Greg actually forgot to press record. This is really bad for Greg. But we got a lifesaver, Yellowthing, coming in clutch for a millionth time. Now, our editing style will be different for Yellowking for obvious reasons. So without further ado, this is Terraria Calamity with Yellowking. Goodbye for now, Greg.
Well. Seems like someone lost their footage and came to me for help. I don't know how he did it, and now here we are. Anyway, welcome. This is Calamity with Yellowking. Anyways, my POV are just mainly boss killings, killing bosses. Bosses, like that. After that, we got ourselves an electrolyte gel pack, which permanently increases our adrenaline damage. Then, I crafted myself a better pickaxe, and I mined all the aerolite ores in a floating island. Then, I go to the corruption to craft the Knight's Ray, the best weapon to have in the early game if you are building a mage. After farming the Eater of Worlds, I went back home to test my weapon in the blood moon. After that, we went to the jungle to fight the Queen Bee. After Queen Bee, I started crafting the Deer Thing Summon and fought the Deer Crops.
What's up, fuckers?
After Deer Crops, we are going down to the pits of hell, trying to kill a godlike being who is keeping the balance of the world. For the funny. Well, there you have it. Terraria Calamity early game with Greg and Yellowthing. See you later, I guess.
We're not done!
There's Hard Mode, like for part 2.